It's going to be a dramatic week in the automotive world, as Bugatti boldly told Matt Armstrong that parts can only be sold to him for his Veyron rebuild if the car is physically brought to their site, meaning that as a Bugatti owner, even if you succeed in buying parts from Bugatti, you still can't fix the car yourself. That's crazy because they are literally saying ownership doesn't equal repair freedom. So the big question everyone is asking is, if Bugatti can sell you parts, why can't they allow you to fix your own car through trusted independent sources? Hit the like button, share, and subscribe, because what Bugatti just did now clearly proves that Bugatti's repair system is deliberately designed so owners can't buy the exact parts needed to permanently fix the car themselves. Now, before we continue, everyone knows during Alex Bugatti, Chiron Rebuilds Bugatti faced a lot of online backlash from fans because they refused to sell parts at all, but now they are trying to be smart but won't allow Matt Armstrong do the fixing himself, which he refused by saying this.
Looks like we're going to have to make all the service parts and everything else ourselves unless we take it to Bugatti, which I don't want to get ripped off.
And that refusal, that single moment of pushback, that is where this story gets interesting. Now let's break this down properly. Bugatti's response wasn't a flat refusal. It was something more calculated, a controlled access loop that forces owners into the official network or leaves them stuck entirely. This is the same monopoly model Ferrari used with its Leonardo diagnostic software to lock Matt out of the 296 GTB. These systems aren't designed for owner convenience. They're designed for manufacturer profit and narrative control. Now the Veyron is on the ramp. Matt is working through it. And almost immediately, the first thing he does is build the list. Because before you can fix anything, you have to know everything that's broken. And this car had a lot to say. Mechanically, the driveshaft boot needs replacing, gearbox service parts, accumulators, oil filters, drain plugs, brake cooling ducts so far gone they've stopped doing their job entirely. Then the cosmetic damage, trim pieces missing, under tray bolts corroded, arch lining bolts gone, a badge, interior trim that's either broken or simply not there anymore. This isn't a quick rebuild, this is a full resurrection. And to do any of it properly, Matt needs genuine parts, Bugatti parts. So before he goes any further down the diagnostic rabbit hole, he picks up the phone and called Bugatti London. But it was a failed one because they weren't responding. No answers, no direction, no help. So Matt tries Manchester. Manchester picks up. And for a moment, it feels like progress. Someone on the line who sounds like they might actually help. Then comes the restriction. Manchester makes it clear they cannot sell parts independently. The car must be physically present on site. The service must be carried out by Bugatti themselves. The parts don't leave with the owner. The car comes to Bugatti, Bugatti does the work, and that is the only path available. Matt says no, because Matt doesn't just fix these cars, he documents everything. So handing the car to a dealership doesn't just cost money, it kills the entire project. But there's something else going on here, something Matt understands better than most. Bugatti doesn't just want the car on their ramp because they care about quality control. They want the car on their ramp because the moment it arrives, they control the diagnosis, they control the parts list, they control every single line on that invoice. And when a Bugatti dealership writes a repair quote on a Veyron, that number doesn't look like a repair bill. It looks like a second mortgage. Matt knows exactly how this plays out. He's seen it before. The car goes in. The diagnostic report comes back with a list so long and a price so high that most owners either pay without question or walk away entirely. And either way, Bugatti wins. They either collect the money or they watch another independent rebuild attempt collapse under the weight of a quote designed to end the conversation. That's the business model hiding inside the policy. And Matt is not going that route, not a chance. But now he's back on the ramp. No parts coming, no easy route forward. Just the car, the faults, and the truth about what's actually wrong with it. And the deeper he goes, the worse it gets. Because the parts list is only half the story. The other half is why so many things failed at once. This car has not been looked after. The under tray bolts are rusted, not surface rust, deep rust, the kind that forms over years of neglect. The interior tells the same story. Deteriorated trim, missing pieces. A car that passed through multiple hands and was treated like an inconvenience by every single one of them. Matt believes this car has likely never properly visited a Bugatti service center. Missed fluid services. The fuse didn't solve the Veyron. It only exposed that the gearbox pressure system may be overworking itself. And Bugatti won't sell Matt the parts to fix it. Not independently, not outside their walls. That's the part that reframes everything. Bugatti did not say no. That's the crucial detail. They didn't refuse outright. They said yes, but only inside their own walls. Parts can be supplied, but only within Bugatti's official network. The car must come to them. The parts are installed by them. From the moment the inquiry is made to the moment the car leaves the ramp, Bugatti controls every step. And now you understand why. Because if the car is on their ramp, they write the quote. They decide what gets flagged. They decide what gets replaced. They decide what a Veyron in this condition is going to cost to return to road. And that number, in a Bugatti dealership, is never small. It is never just the parts. It is never just the labor. It is the full weight of a brand that has spent decades making sure that nobody outside their network can challenge their pricing, their diagnosis, or their version of what the car needs. It's not a refusal policy, it's a controlled access loop. It looks like a service offering. It functions like a monopoly. You own the car. You paid for the car. You want to fix the car. Bugatti confirms the parts exist, but you cannot have them. Not independently, not on your own terms, only on theirs, only at their price, only with their narrative attached. They aren't refusing the parts, they're refusing independent repair access, and that is not the same thing. Matt sees through it completely. He's watched this manufacturer behavior long enough to know what it is. This isn't customer service dressed up as policy. This is a monopoly dressed up as a parts program. And the moment you hand that car over, you've already lost the argument. Bugatti didn't block the repair. They blocked Matt's freedom to repair his own Veyron. And they built a system specifically designed so that freedom was never really his to begin with. And this is where it stops being about Matt Armstrong and starts being about something much larger. Ferrari did it with Leonardo, diagnostic software that locked Matt out of the 296 GTB completely until it reached a franchised dealer. Bugatti is doing it now with a controlled parts network. And in boardrooms that will never make the news, other manufacturers are watching and taking notes. The hypercar owner of the future may not own their car the way they think they do. They might own the chassis, the interior, the badge on the bonnet. But the access, the data, the parts flow, the right to repair, those could belong to the brand, indefinitely, by design. That is ownership being quietly redefined at the highest level of the market. The Veyron rebuild continues. The gearbox still needs answers. The parts still need to come from somewhere. And Bugatti's position has not changed, but the world is watching. And that, for now, is the only pressure Bugatti cannot control. Matt Armstrong's Bugatti Veyron rebuild has exposed a deliberate manufacturer control system hiding behind a parts policy. Bugatti told Matt parts are available, but only if the car comes to them and they do the work themselves. Matt refused, knowing that handing the car over means handing over control of the diagnosis, the quote, and the entire narrative. The Veyron itself showed signs of severe long-term neglect. Rusted hardware, perished ducts, a split CV boot, and likely decades of missed servicing. A burned fuse pointed deeper into the gearbox pressure system, with the hydraulic pump and leaking accumulators now the prime suspects.